Good morning, students. Today, in Nationalism in India, we will be taking the topics Jallianwala Bagh Massacre and Non-Cooperation Movement. Children, in yesterday's lecture, we have studied about the Rowlatt Act, Satyagraha movement, condition of India soon after the First World War. Now, we will start with the Jallianwala Bagh Massacre. On 13 April 1919, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. Beta, you have to learn this date when this incident took place. This incident took place on 13th April 1919, and on that day, the people, they have gathered in a small ground of Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar, and the people, they were mostly from the neighboring villages, and they were not aware of the martial law which was imposed by General Dyer in the city. They had gathered there to protest against the arrest of their local leaders, two local leaders, Saifuddin Kichlu and Satyapal. Some people, they had come to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. Children, when the meeting was going on peacefully, the General Dyer entered in the Bagh and blocked the exit point and opened the fire on the crowd, killing hundreds of people. His object, as he declared later, was to produce a moral effect, to create in the minds of Satyagrahis a feeling of terror. Because of this incident, the entire nation was stunned. As the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowd took to the streets in many North Indian states. There were strikes, clashes with the police, attacks on the government buildings. And you know, children, how did the government responded? The government responded brutally. They took all the measures, all the repressive measures to suppress the strikes. They started humiliating the people, terrorizing the people. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their nose on the ground, on the road, crawl on the street, and do salam to all the sahibs. Sahibs means officers. Seeing violence spread, Gandhiji called off the Satyagraha movement, which was launched against the Rowlatt Act. Now, children, Khilafat movement. It was a movement organized by two Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. The Ottoman Empire in Turkey was defeated during the First World War. The Ottoman emperor was considered as a Khalifa. Khalifa means spiritual head of Islamic world. It was said that Britain was imposing a very harsh treaty on Turkey. In order to oppose this harshness, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in March 1919 by the Ali brothers. Beta, you have to remember this. A Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in 1919 by the Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, and the other Muslim leaders. These leaders discussed with Gandhiji the possibility of united action on this issue. Gandhiji saw an opportunity to bring Muslim under the umbrella of unified national movement, and finally in September 1920 at the Calcutta session of Congress, all leaders were convinced of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat movement. Now, non-cooperation movement. Children, non-cooperation movement was launched under the leadership of Gandhiji. Gandhiji believed that, and also mentioned this fact in his book Hind Swaraj in 1909. Children, you have to remember the book which was written by Gandhiji in 1909, Hind Swaraj, where he has mentioned that the British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of this cooperation. If Indians refused to cooperate, British rule would collapse within a year and the Swaraj would come. It aimed at protesting against the injustice done to Punjab and Turkey and to attain the Swaraj. Educated middle class led the movement in town and cities. Educational institutions, law courts, and foreign goods were boycotted. Now, children, we will see the different people, different areas, different regions where this non-cooperation movement has taken place. Children, the non-cooperation Khilafat movement began in January 1921. You have to learn this date. When was non-cooperation Khilafat movement started? It started in January 1921. Various social groups participated in this movement, each with its own specific aspirations. All of them responded to the call of Swaraj, but the term meant different things to different people. Now, one by one, we will see the movement in different parts of the country. Now, children, we will see the movement in town. In the towns, the prominent participating group was middle class. The middle class boycotted every organization that was governmental. That means they started boycotting the British institutions. The council elections were boycotted in most of the provinces except in Madras, where the Justice Party, the party of non-Brahmin, beta, you have to remember this, the Justice Party has not boycotted the movement. According to them, or they felt that this was the time they can enter in the council and can gain some power. In many places, merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods or finance the foreign trade. As the boycott movement spread, the people began discarding imported clothes and wearing only Indian ones. Production of Indian textile, mills and handlooms went up. Next, movement in countryside. The movement spread from cities to the countryside. In the countryside, the peasants and the tribal participated actively in the movement. In Awadh, Baba Ramchandra led movement against the landlords and the ill practices. By June 1920, Jawaharlal Nehru met the peasants in Awadh. The Awadh Kisan Sabha was formed and headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. Children, you have to remember this. Who headed the Awadh Kisan Sabha? It was headed by Jawaharlal Nehru and other leaders. Children, in Awadh, the movement was against talukdars and landlords who used to demand very high revenues from the poor peasants, and they were forced to do the begar. Begar means labor that the villagers were forced to contribute without any payment. The peasants, they started demanding the reduction of revenue, abolition of begar and social boycott of oppressive landlords. Now let's start with the tribal movement. In the Gudam hills of Andhra Pradesh, tribals started a movement under the leadership of Aliru Sitaram Raju because the colonial government had closed the large forest areas, prevented the people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or to collect the fuel wood and fruits. Not only were their livelihood affected, but they felt that their traditional rights were also denied. When the government began forcing them to contribute begar for road building, the hill people revolted. Aliru Sitaram Raju, the leader of Gudam rebellion, was inspired by the non-cooperation movement and persuaded the people to wear khadi and give up drinking, but at the same time, he asserted that the India could be liberated only by the use of force, not the non-violence. The Gudam rebel attacked police station, attempted to kill the British officials, and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving the Swaraj. Aliru Sitaram Raju was captured and executed in 1924 and over the time became a folk hero. Now let's start with the fourth participants of non-cooperation movement, and they were the plantation workers of Assam. Children, the plantation workers too had their own understanding of Mahatma Gandhi and the notion of Swaraj. For plantation workers in Assam, freedom means the right to move freely in and out of their confined space in which they were enclosed. That means, under the Act of 1859, the plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea garden without permission, and in fact, the permission was rarely given. So, when they heard of non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantation and headed home. According to them, the Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given the land in their own villages. But children, they never reached to their destination. Children, however, they were caught and brought back. I think now the participants of non-cooperation movement is clear. That's all for today and have a nice day.